Welcome back. It's finally here. The season has started, and this is the first edition of the Pigskin Preview for the 2014 season. Alongside head coach of the Western Illinois football team, Bob Nielsen, I'm Andrew Bacon, and Coach, it feels like it was just the end of the 2013 season yesterday.
It's amazing how fast this summer goes, and it's great to be back here out on the field.
And so just talk a little bit about the offseason for the Leatherneck football and what it's like to be in year two now.
Well, the offseason was really good. We started out, I had a good spring practice session way back in March and early April, and then the biggest change was the fact that we had our entire team here for the summer, and having 85 plus guys here throughout the course of the summer, training together, working together, is really what you have to do nowadays to move your program forward. And when camp started, we felt like we were ahead of where we were last year, and I think we demonstrated that through our first game.
So last week, speaking of the game, Coach, the Leathernecks took on the Valparaiso Crusaders. This would mark the second meeting ever between the two teams. The Leathernecks would win convincingly fashionably, as they would get a 45-6 victory. Let's go ahead and send it out to WIU TV3 commentators, Drew Hoffman and Tyler Eddy.
Now, baby, here we go.
And here we go. Newman to about the 10-yard line. Hammond's gonna get the ball. Running to his left. He's got a little bit of a seam. And he's gonna get it all the way back up to what looks like the 35-yard line. Norvell, handoff to Baker. He shifts, he's going back the other way, and man, is he quick as he's finally brought down by a handful of Crusaders. It's gonna be another handoff to Baker, and Baker's got some room. He shed off one tackler, and he's gonna get the first down easily. Fake handoff to Baker. Norvell looking downfield. He's got Borsellino on the sideline. He's got it. And he's gonna finally be brought down at the 5-yard line. What a huge completion between Norvell and Borsellino. Norvell in the shotgun, Baker to his left. It's gonna be a handoff to Baker. Baker trying to use his speed, and he gets into the end zone easy. As J.C. Baker scoring the first touchdown of the 2014 season. First play is gonna be a running play, and it's gonna be stopped awfully quickly there by that Leatherneck defensive line. Head of the offense for Valpo is number 9, Ben Lehman, and he's, like we mentioned already, not with a whole lot of experience. This is another handoff, and Western, wow. He steps back to pass. There's some pressure. And nicely recovered there, as Valpo will be stopped just shy of the first down. The score is 7-0. It's gonna be a handoff to Baker, and Baker with a lot of running room as he's gonna make it all the way down to the first down. Same look again, Hammond's in the backfield. It's gonna be a throw outside. And he's got some room up the sideline, just one defender to beat, and he's staying in bounds. Oh no, they're gonna call him out of bounds back at the 35. Lenore Jr. and then Baker shifted from the backfield out there to the sideline. In the slot, Norvell looking to his right, rolling out, and he's gonna get sacked. And wow, what an amazing play as Borsellino saw that Norvell was in some heat. One of those defensive backs just throwing his hands in the air because of the luck. Larry Harris now looking to score his first touchdown as he gets into the end zone. Norvell with his first passing touchdown of the season as Western makes it 13-0. Hand off to Baker. He's looking towards his right side. Really putting the moves out there, and he's still on his feet. Taylor Hill moving over to the right side. It's gonna be a handoff to Baker, and he got a great block there by Hill. He's moving up the sideline. Juking left, juking right. And Western inside that red zone. As Western's looking at 3rd and long. Norvell looking. He's airing it out to Hi-C Scott in the end zone. What an amazing catch there by Hi-C Scott as Western on the board yet again, but this time it's coming from number 19. Norvell in the shotgun as Western's more than likely looking to pass on this one. Over the middle, looking out across the side, and what an amazing catch by Hi-C Scott. Norvell wasting no time No huddle offense as he finds Porcelino as they're looking to march down the field and do it in a hurry. Norvell back to pass. He's got Lance Lenore Jr. Sliding catch, that's another first down. And his young receivers, besides Icy Scott, looking to convert. He's got Lenore on the side, he shakes the tackle. He shakes two more, he's running up the sideline, 10-5. And he's gonna be brought down just before the goal line. Kick is up, and it's good. As Western extends their lead yet even more. 24-0 with 21 seconds left here in the first half.
After the half, the Leathernecks would have the lead 24-0. Coach, a lot of positives. The offense scored a lot of points. Defense allowed 0, and special teams 3 for 3 and connecting on that last field goal at the end. Kind of assess what you saw out of their performance out of the first half.
Offensively, we moved the ball very consistently, which we felt we had the opportunity to do against a very young and inexperienced Valparaiso team. The thing that was most pleasing was the fact that we made some big plays. We went into the season thinking that the depth of our team at the skill positions we could be better suited to make those kinds of offensive plays and getting some yardage in chunks, and we demonstrated that we could do that on Thursday night. Defensively, we kept them out of the end zone. I thought we gave up some yards at times. That we played very base defense most of the game, and we found some things there that we can work on and need to get better at. But overall, it was a good first half and put us in a position that we wanted to be in that game, where we had a chance to play a lot of people in the second half.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned as you're watching the Pigskin Preview, home of Fighting Leatherneck football.
If you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. Follow through and check your skin. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how.
Welcome back. Coach, with the 24-0 lead, what did you say to the team in the locker room?
Well, we wanted to keep playing well. You know, when you get leads like that, the most important thing is you come out and start the second half the same way that you played in the first half. Put some additional points on the board, and then get a chance to play a lot of your younger players that have worked hard in practice.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the second half highlights.
Norvell almost at 200 yards already. It's going to be a handoff to Baker up the middle. He shifts back to the outside. He's got some blocking in front of him. He's marching himself up the sideline as he runs out of bounds. It's going to be a handoff to Baker. He shifts back to the outside. He's got a blocker in front of him. Making his way to the sideline yet again as he scampers out of bounds. 1st and 10 from the 38. Fake handoff to Baker, looking downfield. He's got Icy Scott wide open. What an amazing catch by the senior. And that's another touchdown. Icy Scott, reservations for 6. Hughes now out on the field as the halfback for Valparaiso. It's going to be a fake handoff to him. Some pressure, rolling out. That's going to be picked off. And guess who? David McDaniels right there waiting for that ball. Norvell, screen pass. Baker's got some blockers in front of him. He's making his way out to the outside. There's nobody in front of him. J.C. Baker, boy can he run.
Ricketts had a lot of time in at center last year.
Hammonds again, like a hot knife going through butter. 1:04 left in the third quarter. Norvell, he's gonna find a wide open Larry Harris as he's making his way downfield, shedding tacklers and being brought down. 2nd and 26. Norvell back to pass. Here's another bubble screen. They got Hammonds juking left, right, shaking, bake, still on his feet, making his way to the outside as he's finally brought down, and that's gonna be a Leatherneck first down. Devin Moore in the back. And it's going to be a handoff, 2:28, finishing what he started. He scampers off, missing 1 tackle and 2. And that's another Western Illinois touchdown.
The Leathernecks would win the game 45-6, Valparaiso getting the score at the end of the fourth quarter. And so, Coach, what a great game, and what a great proposal by JJ.
Yeah, you know, I was kidding him all week that it's pretty embarrassing if she says no when you do something like that. But he obviously had a pretty good idea that she was going to say yes. And he's a great young man, and she, in her own right, was a very successful student athlete here, and so it's nice to see something like that for one of your players, and we're very excited for him and for her as well.
All right, well, this week I went ahead and sat down with JJ to kind of see what's going through his mind before he asked Heather Smith to marry him.
It was great. I wasn't too nervous or anything. I was more excited about the game, anxious, ready to get back at it after being out most of last year. But I was just ready to go. And then after that first half, and I got to take my helmet off. I got a little nervous, but I was, for the most part, pretty prepared for it.
All right, so after you guys kind of sort of got to sing your song from the marching band, you start walking over. What's going through your mind as you know it's coming?
Going through my head was, where's she at? I can't find her, why isn't she on the field yet? But I had some good supporters that were taking care of business and got her right where I wanted her to be. So it was just kind of going through my head, like, where is she? Where is she at? And then I found her, so I was pretty confident after that.
And so what'd you say to her before you officially asked her?
I just told her, I love you more than anything, and I love you. And I asked her, I was like, you love me, right? And she was like, yeah, I love you more than anything. And I was just like, okay. And then I just kept telling her, you mean the world to me and everything. And I just got down on one knee and popped the question.
How surprised would you say on a 1 to 10 scale that she was?
10. Yeah, she just started crying right away and shaking her head, yeah. So she said she had no idea, and everybody around town knew. Don't know how that happened. I just told a select few people. I guess the word got out. Some people told some people, but that's all right. She had no idea, so it was perfect, and I couldn't have asked for anything better.
All right, I think that's it. Anything else you want to say?
I love you, Heather. I hope you see this, and I can't wait to start a new family and get everything rolling with the house and everything.
We bought it, we bought it, we bought it, we sold, we sold, we sold, we sold. We bought it, we bought it, we bought it, we bought it, we sold, we sold, we sold, we sold. We bought it, we bought it, we bought it, we sold, we sold, we sold, we bought it, we bought it, we bought it, we sold, we sold, we sold, we sold.
All right, Coach, transitioning now from the game of love to the football game at hand. A lot of positives, just like the first half and the second half. More points. The defense did a pretty good job, obviously just that one score. And then special teams continue to stay perfect in the extra point, kicking extra points. But one thing we haven't really talked a whole lot about yet is all the new guys that were either transfers or freshmen that played, or redshirt freshmen. Talk a little bit about them and what we'll see from them continuing this season.
We had a number of guys that was their first college football game. On offense, we talk about the fact that we've got a lot of experience back, even though that experience is pretty youthful, with Trenton Norvell and the receivers, Joy Borsellino and Lance Lenore, and you saw a few new guys there, guys like Quadarius Morales and Adam Hoogerworth, a guy that was redshirted a year ago that played a lot and made some big plays for us. You add to that a couple of running backs that saw their first action, Devin Moore, who we felt a year ago had a chance to be a good player, and unfortunately an injury kept him from playing the entire year last year. It was good to see him get into the game and do the things that he's capable of doing, a guy that's going to see a lot of action for us this year. Defensively, we played a couple of true freshmen and in the secondary, and guys that we think will be able to help us and provide additional depth this year, and so overall we were pleased with the young players that got repetitions and the experience that game will provide for them.
There's always room for improvement, Coach, and so with you guys playing the University of Wisconsin this weekend, what are some areas that you saw that you guys can improve upon?
Well, a big thing when you play Wisconsin, it's understanding that it's a totally different level of competition. Our guys do. This is a team that's one of the top 15, 20 teams in the country, maybe even a top 10 team when it's all said and done at the end of the year. And you saw just how good they were in that opening game against LSU if you watch that on Saturday night. The big things this week is we're going to have to play exceptionally good against the run. They're a team that is one of the best rushing football teams in the country. Maybe have the best running back in the country and a big, physical, experienced offensive line. So that's going to be a huge challenge for us defensively, is to try to create some situations where they're off schedule. And the flip side of that is offensively, we're going to have to find ways to consistently move the football and hopefully not allow them to play offense the entire game. When you play these Big Ten games and the level of physicality that those teams are, if you can't do that, there's a chance that they're going to wear you down in the third and fourth quarters, and that's what happened to us last year against Minnesota. And so offensively, we need to move the ball. We need to create first downs. We need to eliminate the number of possessions that Wisconsin's going to get to have a chance to be in the game.
All right, and so this week with the Leathernecks playing Wisconsin, I went ahead and talked to a couple of seniors to see what is it like to play an FBS opponent.
Prepare the same. You got to prepare the same. Football is the same. No matter who you're playing, it's football. At the end of the day, it's 11 on 11.
No, absolutely not. They're players just like we are. They prepare the same way and everything else, so it's just another game.
I approach it the same way. Just try to fine-tune my technique a lot more, because technique will win this game.
Obviously, when preparing for any opponent, the three seniors all agree that a player has to go in it the same way, no matter if it's a FBS team or not. When walking into the stadium and witnessing the atmosphere, though, that's when everything is different.
It's amazing. It's exhilarating. The energy that you get from packed stadiums and the fans, they really let you know how they feel, good or bad. They're going to let you know. The attention surrounding it, the history behind a lot of these programs. A lot of the programs, or a lot of the bigger FBS programs, we like to model ourselves behind as far as perfect practice and the perfect models on and off the field.
60,000 to 80,000 people cheering against you, and you're fighting not against the 11 guys on the field, but the thousands of people in the crowd also.
It's exhilarating. It really is, because it's like this is what you dream about. You dream about 60,000, 50 plus thousand fans, and then it's there and it's happening. It's just a whole bunch of distractions. It's really a fleeting moment that you never want to forget.
With Durley, Kachanik, and McDaniel all going into their 5th year at WIU, the three have all experienced several games at the single-A level. Each one expresses which FBS game is their favorite.
My favorite FBS opponent would have been Minnesota, because how tough we played them. We actually had to lead there for a little bit, a few mental lapses, but we played a pretty good game, solid defensively.
I would have to say Mizzou, because that was my first actual college football game I actually played in. I kind of got thrown to the wolves there, and I guess it's kind of helped me ease the nerves for future FBS opponents.
Even though we got blew out, Mizzou, it was just a fun game. It was my first experience playing an FBS opponent, and it was a pretty good experience.
Even after playing multiple FBS foes, the seniors have a certain team that they wish they could scratch off the list and compete against to feel the chaotic atmosphere.
It would be dope to travel down to Miami just to get that college football atmosphere. U was big back in the day, and just it's kind of lacking now, but it's just to know what that was all about and getting that environment, that would be pretty cool.
That's easy for me, being from Detroit, Michigan, the University of Michigan, and playing in the big house.
I'd love to play in the big house. I was a Michigan fan growing up, and just to play in that atmosphere would be great.
Coach, last year you had the opportunity to play 2 different FBS teams. What have you seen that are similar and then different?
Well, Wisconsin's a different level of FBS team, I think, than what we played last year, even though Minnesota was a good team and ended up, both they and UNLV ended up being bowl teams. Wisconsin is a type of team that has the ability to contend for a national championship at the FBS level, and so the level of play that we're going to see up there is even one notch higher than what we saw last year. The other thing that's going to be different is playing at Camp Randall Stadium and 80,000 fans, which they sell out no matter who they're playing, and so you're going to expect to have 70, 75, 80,000 people in that stadium, and so we've been practicing this week against the conditions that you're going to experience there with some of the noise, and even though it's really difficult to simulate that, we hope we'll be able to execute in that environment by having practiced in some of the ways that we have this week.
And then is there anything different from the FCS opponents that you'll face this year and the FBS opponents such as Wisconsin and Northwestern this year? Is there any way that you guys go into that game differently?
No, our league is so tough. I mean, you have to play your best football every week, or you're going to get beat. And so whether you're playing a Wisconsin or a North Dakota State or anybody else in our league, our goal is to be the best football team we can be, to play our best football throughout the course of the game. And if we do that, that's really all you can ask of our guys to do.
All right, we're going to take another quick break, but stay tuned as we have the always enjoyable 2-minute drill with Hi-C Scott, senior wide receiver. And of course, you know I'm going to ask where Hi-C came from for the nickname. You're watching the Pigskin Preview.
Every year, millions of young women try to change the skin they were born with and say they'd die for darker skin. Sadly, some actually do. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org.
Welcome back to the Pigskin Preview. I have special guest Hi-C Scott, senior wide receiver for Western Illinois, on set with us for the 2-minute drill. So if you're new to the show, every week we try and do a 2-minute drill with either a player or a coach. This week, obviously, Hi-C, and we try and get him to answer as many questions as possible, and you guessed it, 2 minutes. So Hi-C, you ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, so where does the nickname Hi-C come from?
Pretty much just from grade school. You know, the way my name is usually spelt, guys really couldn't get it correctly all the time. So, you know, just out of nowhere, one time I was at a recreational center, guy just said, you know what, your name's too hard to say, so I'm just call you Hi-C Juice Box, like the drink. And Hi-C has just stuck with me ever since then.
A lot of players I've heard kind of called you. That's perfect for you because you juice up the offense out there on the field.
Oh, yes, 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 sir.
So being from Arizona, what's the biggest change coming to Illinois?
I would have to say the number one thing would probably be the weather. I mean, I know, you know, through these times it's kind of, you know, good, and we're out here, it kind of feels like Arizona type of climate, but as soon as the spring hits, you know, I just want to stay inside for the most part. But, you know, I mean, I definitely wanted something new, so I think this was a good advantage for me to do.
So last week you and JC combined for 4 total touchdowns. What was it like to have a little bit of that Arizona flavor out there showing what you guys can do?
Oh, I mean, we've clicked ever since we've, you know, touched the field, you know, together as a unit. So, I mean, me and him, we talk to each other each day, and, you know, with this being our final year, we just know what we have to do to, you know, prove ourselves as individuals. So, you know, that's something we remind each other each day before we break it down and come out here and, you know, come to practice or even a game.
So what's it like to kind of have some more Arizona transfer kids come this year, and obviously last year was the start of it? What's it like to see like a pipeline come out?
Oh, it's definitely nice. I mean, definitely know there's a scene that coaches obviously see something special down in Arizona. And as we see down here in Illinois, that Arizona is starting to bring something special to the, you know, leatherneck country.
What's your favorite celebration you've ever done?
My favorite celebration I've ever done, I would probably have to say my unique one that I've actually created this year, you know, is actually praises my man upstairs. It's my, you know, right here in my heart. Then I crumble and then kiss, you know, and then point to the sky, because that's, you know, having him thank me for that touchdown I just made.
So Hi-C, what's your favorite catch as a leatherneck?
I'll probably have to say this one right here, you know, just that sums it up for the 2-minute show that you have brought me on today.
You taking over as host, huh? You gonna come back over the break and finish it with Coach?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hopefully I'll be talking to you with a ring on my finger, so you know.
All right, that's all the time we have for you on the 2-minute drill. Stay tuned as we'll preview the Missouri Valley Conference, and we'll also preview against the Wisconsin Badgers. You're watching the Pigskin Preview.
Where do you think you're going?
Is your body holding you back?
I want to go running. Not with that knee, you're not. I'm fine.
Fight for your mobility. Visit anationinmotion.org. A message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That changed my life.
At that moment, it hit me. This is why I joined the Guard. We're soldiers, always ready to protect our country. But we've also got communities. Family, friends, neighbors who count on us. I couldn't believe it. I just saved a life to somebody from my hometown.
See what it means to be a citizen soldier at NationalGuard.com.
Welcome back. Let's now take a closer look at the Missouri Valley Conference. As I said, Western Illinois beat Valpo 45-6. Missouri State took on Northwestern and would win the game 34-27. Southern Illinois took on Division II Taylor University and won 45-0, similar to Western's score. North Dakota State with the upset supposedly over Iowa State 34-14. Youngstown State 17, U of I 28. Youngstown stayed in that game for quite a bit, Coach, and then kind of similar with last year against Minnesota, kind of ran out in that fourth quarter. Northern Iowa took on Iowa, another very close game with the FBS teams. Iowa 31 and Northern Iowa 23. Indiana State 10, Indiana 28. South Dakota State took on Mizzou, and on the very first play, Zach Zenner ran it for 75 yards for a touchdown. The final score, though, Mizzou on top 38-18. South Dakota took on Oregon for a late night game on Saturday. That was a 62-13 matchup with Oregon taking the victory, and Illinois State, I guess they were too cool. They didn't play last weekend. They had an early bye week. Looking at the standings, as Coach surely knows, this can't really determine a whole lot with the first game, but Western, Missouri State, North Dakota State, and Southern all at 1-0. Illinois State again, they did not play, so 0-0. And Youngstown State, Northern Iowa, Indiana State, South Dakota State, and South Dakota 0-1. Looking at the games this weekend, Southern will play Eastern Illinois. Missouri State travels to Oklahoma State for another possible matchup, try and upset an FBS team there. Youngstown State takes on Duquesne. North Dakota State plays host to Weber State. Indiana State will play Tennessee Tech. South Dakota will host D2 William Penn. South Dakota State takes on Cal Poly. Illinois State opens up the season against Missouri Valley State. And Northern Iowa will have a bye week. And then, of course, Western Illinois will take on the Wisconsin Badgers. And as Coach talked about earlier, they did lose to the Tigers. However, they had a pretty dominating lead and at one point led 24-7. However, LSU would rally back with 21 unanswered points. Coach, we talked already a lot about the offense and the defense, but the one thing we didn't talk about was their quarterback kind of struggled in the during the whole game with only over 100 yards passing, and I believe he was under 500 or under 50% for completions. And so how are you guys going to have your secondary, who's very senior leadership, take advantage of him?
Well, I don't know if take advantage is a good way to phrase it. He was playing his first college football game as a quarterback at Wisconsin. He had actually played safety the year before. He's an outstanding athlete. He and J.C. Baker crossed over paths at Arizona Western Community College, where he played quarterback and was one of the most successful quarterbacks at the junior college level the year that he played out there. So he's a highly skilled player and is going to continue to get better as the year goes on. I think what makes him really a dangerous player is, as he continues to improve as a passer, is the fact that he's a very unique athlete. Having played safety at that level gives you some idea of his athletic ability, and he did a good job of extending plays with his feet, and that's something that we're going to have to deal with on Saturday.
And I also saw he played some wide receiver in their very first game last year. And then, Coach, going on to the defensive side, like I said, they kind of fell, they faltered. The defense did, allowing 21 points. Does that kind of give you any assumption to maybe try and run the ball with all the very good running backs that Western can feature?
Well, their defense, I thought, played exceptionally well and really took away LSU's rushing game in the first three quarters, which was probably the biggest surprise of the game, I think, for all of the experts that watched it, because that defense is very young. The Wisconsin defense is very young. They were a very senior-dominated group. I think, to move the ball, we're going to have to be balanced and find some ways to create some offense. It's going to be a great challenge. They're a very physical defensive football team, and are going to play at a level of speed that certainly is much different than last week.
The Leathernecks will travel north to Camp Randall to take on the Wisconsin Badgers at 11 a.m. Saturday. The game will also be on the Big Ten Network if you are unable to go to the game. That's all the time we have for you this week on the Pigskin Preview. For Coach Nielsen, I'm Andrew Bacon. Thanks for watching.